We are live back with a Friday edition of Your Wildest Fantasy Football Show.
Oh, yeah.
A little note inside my head. I pointed at my cheeks. I don't think that's like where this thought was focused. I think it was a little bit more up here.
Right.
But I was looking at our title at the bottom, Your Wildest Fantasy Football Show, and I think we put the right your, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
YOU_RE is you are wildest
You
fantasy.
are Wildest Fantasy.
Right. Which wouldn't be the case unless you're Kondo or I. We need a cool name for the fans. That's what we need. We need like a, like the Seahawks fans are known as 12th man on the field. Like we need a cool name for our fans. I don't know what it could be though.
I don't know.
Not good at nicknames.
We have to workshop that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take a poll.
An update for fans. It's something we'd like to get some feedback on as well. Should probably wait until more people fill in here.
Right.
But-
we can hit it. We can hit it now and then again at the end of
Yeah.
or when more people show up.
So we've talked about we're no longer going to be able to do the 4 days a week.
Right.
With our revised schedule, we are still going to be on a couple times during the week. One time will be Sundays, presumably 11:30 to 12:30. We will, I mean, we should probably, like, once we get this finished, just release a video on our channel to, like,
We should
say
let
the
people know.
updated plan. But the presumable schedule here is Sunday, 11:30 to 12:30 to help y'all with any last-minute lineup decisions as we start getting down to the final stretch. And then we need your feedback on what day would be the most helpful to hear from us, what you may want from us as far as like insight. Would you rather us have like a Tuesday kind of waivers episode, talk through waivers, and then have a little bit of reflection on the past week, or have some different topics that we try to cover in the second half of that waiver show? Or would you want us to do a week preview on Thursdays? Would you want us to do a recap of the Thursday game and then preview the rest of the week on Friday? What would help you guys the most? We are very curious in hearing your opinions. So let us know, even after this, if you are listening to the recorded version, and you can probably comment on the YouTube video itself, or you could, I think, like message one of us on like Instagram if that's easier. I don't know a case in which that would be easier, but if that is easier, Cody, what's yours? Just a
I have to look, so I have
Okay.
actually no idea.
Mine is Ryan_Condo. Toadie's is
Cody_UF24.
There you go. Follow along for anything else
Feel free to
that may
follow,
come about throughout. So, yeah, that is that announcement. But now we have to talk about last night's
barn burner, brother.
Woo! We were on the same page and also just so very wrong.
I called it, called it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone knew that it was going to, or anybody had much of a doubt that it wasn't going to be like the most explosive offensive game, but definitely was a little bit gross at times, some gross picks. Neither team was really able to run the ball, and I think that's kind of goes to the first big point from all this. I think it is a Friday, but maybe the over-exaggeration or overreaction Monday of the game last night would be Zeke has lost his job. Is that an overreaction?
No, that's not. That's an underreaction. Tony Pollard is the running back for Dallas's future in real football. Watching Zeke out there, he was listed as healthy, so there should be zero excuses for why he looked as sluggish and unmotivated to play as he did. I don't know what is going on. Kondo has an old lady in his lap laughing right now. But yeah, Tony Pollard, on like that 60-yard shovel pass, maybe toss play that happened there. He took it to the house, whereas Zeke would have, just watching how he was running all night, he would have got tackled 5 yards downfield.
Okay. I don't know about that.
At most, he would have got 20 yards. He definitely wouldn't have taken it to the house. Because around 5 yards downfield was when Tony Pollard had to run through and like maneuver through like 5 New Orleans defenders.
That's okay. Well, talk about over exaggeration.
I just watched the clip. You can pull it up.
I don't know.
It's on YouTube. True. Anyway, Tony Pollard looked more explosive in my eyes, and he looked more motivated to play.
That's so.
You can go back and watch.
He just has more heart.
He has more heart, obviously.
He has more heart. He's more in it to win it. What's another phrase that we could use? He wanted it more.
He didn't just want it more. He went out there and he delivered more.
Got it.
He got you 15.4 fantasy points. And, what did Zeke get you? 6.7. That's going to lose you your week here, kids. Hate to say it. It's going to lose you your week. Zeke was a guy I told you to sell just because someone else would have started him. Could have been your opponent. You could have started Pollard and outscored this man 8.5, 9 points here.
Well, I think that's the big thing for Pollard is, you know what? For Zeke, it's gut check time, I think, at the end of the day. And he kind of took his eye off the ball. And Tony Pollard getting the opportunity, as I'm trying to load something up right now and it's lagging me out. He didn't pull any punches. And Zeke dropped the ball. Not literally, but metaphorically speaking.
Right, metaphorically.
Pollard stepped up to the plate. I think that's kind of the big thing here. And Zeke's got to step up if he wants to do something else. Pollard, great work ethic. Zeke maybe a little bit inside of his head.
You can go back and watch it. Zeke, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other people's opinion,
Tony Pollard just came to play.
He did, but Zeke looked slow when he caught the ball. Like, if you look at some of his catches that he had, it looked like he was like running half speed, just running around out there, and there was no real sense of urgency. Someone who did have a sense of urgency, though, besides Tony Pollard.
Well, I want to stay on Tony Pollard for a little bit.
You want to stay on Tony?
He just has tremendous upside, and you can feel the electricity when he has the ball. And he knows what it takes to win. Put on his game face, and overcame adversity, and is now the go-to guy in a gutsy performance.
Hallelujah.
At the end of the day, it's a game of inches, and he just wanted it more, and it's a mental game, and God was on his side that day.
I feel like you looked up like motivational quotes or something like that.
No, I'm just talking about Tony Pollard. I think that it was. I mean, it's a split. Like, it's an even backfield. I think you can take like your guess at what you want to go with. I don't think that I changed my opinion too much. Like, at the goal line, I think Zeke's going to get the ball. Now, if Tony Pollard's going to break 60-yard touchdown, which he can do, and you want to bet on that, and just him being overall the more efficient back, that's a fair case for Tony Pollard. Zeke is the goal line back, and I think he's the early down guy. Like, it's a really tough situation, and one where I don't really want to. I am forced in our main league to pick between the two, and I don't really want to. But
it's trade deadline's over. There is no more trading in that league.
I don't think it's like now it's Pollard. Like, I think it's pretty split and even on like what you believe more in, which is like, do you believe in Zeke to just like score touchdowns and like carry you that way? Schedule also lightens up. Like, New Orleans, if you watched earlier in the game, like that 60-yard run was really like one of the only big runs that got broken in that game.
Mhm.
So, and my kind of thing on that is like, I agree with you that Zeke wouldn't have scored, but I do think he would have had a big run there. I think whoever
I
was
think
in
20 yards would have been about the max I could have saw Zeke, just based on how he was running the entire time. Like
my point is
watching
that
the
I think that is more like circumstance of like, oh, Tony Pollard happened to be in. So like he benefited from that. I think Zeke would have benefited from that if he was in. So I don't know if that's like predictable. And that's kind of the thing that keeps it pretty even for me. Because you're
for
betting
me,
on like Tony Pollard's talent if you're starting him to like break a big play, which
mhm.
we've seen him do, or you're betting on the situation with Zeke to be the goal line back in an offense that we expect to score points. And especially now more so down the stretch as the schedule. I mean, New Orleans is one of the toughest run defenses in football. And you could kind of see why in this game. But Washington, Giants, Washington, Arizona lightens up a bit. So
Right.
it's a tough call. Like, I don't really feel great about starting either. But, like, yeah, you'd be crazy not to be concerned about Zeke.
So Tony Pollard last week, Thursday game, 100-yard return for a touchdown. This week, 60-something yard rushing touchdown again. He is the guy with the most explosive potential. He had 11 targets, 4 passing, got 7 rushing. So 11 targets this game. Zeke had 16. So he's right there. Zeke 13 on the ground, 3 through the air. Zeke is looking slow, and Pollard's looking hot. And at this time of year, like you just said, they're playing some easier opponents, which means they should be up a little bit, which means they're going to sit Zeke, which means Tony Pollard's
I don't
going to
know
be
about
up.
that
I don't know.
because they were running Zeke in the end of the game. Zeke was the one that got the last carry of the game to run the clock down to the 2-minute warning. So
it was a 10-point game with what, like for
it was
most
a
of the
10-point game, and all they had to do was run one more play. They didn't
Mhm.
need any yardage on it just to get down to the 2-minute warning so that they could kneel it. So like, I think they're going to use Zeke when they're up. Is my thing. I think they're going to use both of them when they're up.
I think
I'm
Tony
not as
Pollard's
like
going to get more of the. I think Tony Pollard, as you said, he's not this lead guy back there. I think he is.
I don't
But
know. I think that it's pretty like even. I think Zeke gets like a little bit of benefit there, but yeah, like I'm not blaming anybody for being fed up with Zeke and then picking Tony Pollard to start over him. I just don't know if I'm doing it. that's
yeah, I mean,
that's
hey, it's tough.
probably that's probably the best way to explain how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, one guy got you 5.3 points above what he was projected. Another guy got you, 8 points below what he was projected. So I'm not going to tell you who to play, who to sit. It's your league, your call. If you're trying to lose, put Zeke in if you want to win. Pollard.
There you go.
But hey, who am I to tell you? Who am
Put
I to tell
Zeke
you?
in if you want to win. There we go.
Other side of the ball, though. Just like maybe. Just like
for New Orleans, it was a weird game. Like it was. I mean, Taysom, he did throw. What was it? 4 picks at the end of the day, or was it 3?
I'm looking. He threw 4
picks,
interceptions.
and he scored 20 fantasy points.
Right. So watching Taysom play, kind of what I predicted. Running back was neutralized. For those of you who started Mark Ingram, congratulations with the 3.6 fantasy points he produced for you. He's not a guy who throws to the running back. He is also a guy who throws 5 yards downfield. On Deontay Harris's huge, like monster, I forgot how long it was, but like 70 yards or something like that. You know where he threw the ball? 5 yards downfield. Like 5 yards down the line of scrimmage, and then Deontay Harris did the rest. So Taysom Hill was not a guy launching the ball. He was relying on the people, his wide receivers, to, make big plays like they did. They did a great job on the secondary, just torching them, weaving and waving their way down the field. But Taysom wasn't throwing the ball well. He had more carries than Mark Ingram did, their lead running back. In fact, he had more carries than all the running backs combined. He had ran the ball 11 times for 101 yards. So that 10 fantasy points is what I said would get you a good fantasy week. Because you take away his running, he got you 10 points.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what Taysom
So that's
Hill
what
is,
that's
right?
what I said. I said he was going to get you a good week because he runs the ball. And I said that the running back position takes a huge hit when Taysom Hill's in. He did pull something in his finger.
He tore a tendon in his middle finger, similar to the Russ injury. I think Russ had like a couple of things going on, but it's but yeah, it's the mallet finger, which they call it, which is not, you typically don't want your finger compared to a mallet.
Right.
I would say if you have the choice.
I mean, if you have the choice, you're not going to do it, but
agreed.
He is also debating if he's going to get the surgery. So,
yeah, I certainly would imagine that having a mallet finger doesn't help your ability to throw the ball. I don't think Taysom, either of us would say Taysom is the most prolific passer, but I think he's a fine streaming quarterback because, like, not even a fine streaming quarterback, like a fine quarterback to roster. He plays the Jets and then Tampa Bay the next 2 weeks.
Tampa Bay is good against the run, which is where he got you the points. He threw the ball 5 yards downfield. If you watch the game, the line of scrimmage, I don't think he ever threw the ball more than 5 yards past it, which, I mean, is fine when you have a secondary that can get, weave through like Dallas did by, Harris and Humphrey here. But Tampa Bay is really good run stopping.
Wasn't his first touchdown downfield?
His first touchdown was like 5 yards downfield.
I don't think that's true.
I definitely remember the Harris one was 5 yards downfield.
No, the Harris one was not the first one.
I know the Harris one wasn't the first one. I can't remember. I don't think it was that far.
I believe it was like an out route, or like a corner route down field. I didn't think Taysom was as bad as like apparently you thought he was, but like.
Oh, he was a bad quarterback, but he was a good fantasy quarterback. Like I said, he was going to be. I said he was going to be good.
Yes, you have reiterated many times that
but you said
exactly what has happened.
Exactly.
You could not make that more clear that you were.
Because you just said that I'm down on him. I said he's a good quarterback for fantasy.
Well,
quarterback.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not sure. Like, I have faith in him. Yeah, I suppose as a fantasy quarterback as well, and even against Tampa Bay, I'm feeling pretty decent with Taysom Hill. More so, I think, like, sure, I believe in Taysom Hill, but I believe in Sean Payton as well. So that rushing potential kind of can get unleashed. I don't think we have anything else for this one. Going into the games that we did not cover yesterday, if we are missing any and you're like, oh, why didn't we talk about this game? We talked about it yesterday. So make sure to check out yesterday's episode. Starting today with the Chargers at the Bengals. Chargers have been weird lately, but we would expect this game to be high scoring. I hope it is for many fantasy managers who probably have a lot of stock in both of these teams. I think the person that is probably the most important to talk about here, maybe not the most important to talk about, but maybe most set up statistically for the best day is Joe Mixon. This Chargers defense has notoriously been really bad against the run. And that really opens things up for Mixon, who's been on an unreal hot streak. He does have 2 touchdowns in each of the last 4 games. So my guess is like that's got to stop at a certain point. But I mean, he's been tearing it up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not sure if the 2 touchdown streak continues, but he has been on a tear. Joe Mixon has talent. The whole team as a whole on offense is just star-studded. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Boyd, who is good, just not a viable fantasy option yet, but still a very good wide receiver. You have Joe Burrow out there. Uzma, as we saw earlier on in the season, has very good real football potential when, gets 2 touchdowns and like 90, 100 yards or whatever on 3 passes or 3 catches, whatever. So they have weapons out there, which really loosens up the field for Joe Mixon, who can just utilize all that empty space and make things happen. So, yeah, I'm with you. Joe Mixon, obviously, he's going to have a great day.
T. Higgins has also been on a tear lately.
Been.
I think that's like one of the interesting parts about this game. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. It seems like T. Higgins is eating into Chase a little bit. Chase's target volume down a little bit. Are you concerned about that at all?
Slightly. Especially against the Chargers, their pass D is their strongest, strongest part of their defense is their pass game. So I'm a little bit concerned just because, his target volume has been down. T. Higgins has been, in the last 5 games, he had 15 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets, 3 targets, 8 targets. Just really eating into what Jamar Chase was used to getting. So I'm not as high as I was on Jamar Chase anymore. Still like him as a player, obviously. Trade deadlines passed, so you're not going to drop him, and you can't trade him. But I am a little skeptical for his week ahead, just hoping for the best, just because I think it's going to be a shootout of a game. And this is going to be a game where he either proves himself to be like, a great young rookie, or just proves everyone right that, he doesn't deserve Rookie of the Year anymore.
Yeah, again, like one of those situations where it's tough not to be like, at least like watching it, like,
right,
kind of like a little bit of a weird, like confused look there is what I was trying to do.
right.
But also like a lot of wide receivers are like that now. It's what wide receivers that are healthy do you really have that much confidence in? Like, DK has been disappointing.
I can name 5 off the top of my head.
Yeah, but like, I think
Cooper
that's
Kupp, Tyreek, Devontae, JJ, Adam Thielen. Those 5 just right off the rip.
Interesting.
And I
But
think earlier on in the season, you could have got most of those guys. Definitely not Cooper Kupp, but you could have got JJ, Adam Thielen for Jamar Chase. You could have packaged Jamar Chase in like a Hunter Renfrow for like a Devontae when Devontae was struggling, or a Tyreek when Tyreek was struggling. You probably could have packaged people together to get them. So
I don't know.
I'm with you. There's a lot of people who are struggling.
Yeah, my point is like he's still probably a top 12 receiver pretty easily. So you can't be too worried about him. As for the Charger side of things, you're starting Keenan Allen. You're starting Austin Eckler.
Right.
I think it's just the Mike Williams thing again. And like we've already talked about that enough. You are like all out on Mike Williams. I say if you have like enough stability where you want a boom bust guy, then you can put him in your lineup. But I would probably say that there are much safer options out there for you to find.
There's a lot safer options out there instead of Mike Williams. If we go back all the way to week 6, since week 6, Mike Williams has had 1 game above 8 fantasy points. 1 game above 8 fantasy points since week 8. For people who were trying to utilize Mike Williams to get to the playoffs, you were drastically disappointed putting an 8-point performance out there, especially since what you had to pay to get Mike Williams from the tear that he was on. Yeah, I'm not loving Mike Williams. Cincinnati does have a moderately good pass defense. It's going to be a tough one, especially since Austin Eckler, I think, is going to be able to run the ball like crazy, Cincinnati doesn't really scare too many people on the ground. So I think it's going to be a huge Austin Eckler game. And I think Keenan Allen is going to be the wide receiver that Justin Herbert throws to more than Mike Williams. And Keenan's probably going to utilize the catches or the passes more and, actually catch the ball, unlike Mike Williams, which we've seen just catch below 50%, close to 40 to 30% of the passes thrown his way.
Mike Williams or Chase Claypool starting this week?
Who's Steelers are playing the
Claypool
Ravens?
plays Baltimore.
Give me Claypool. Divisional
I'm
game.
taking Mike Williams in that case.
Mhm.
Van Jefferson or
Is OBJ playing? I don't think
it's
so.
not looking promising. They said it is going to come down to the wire with OBJ.
He sat out Thursday's practice. I think he's not playing. Henderson was a non-participant in Thursday's practice as well. So give me Van Jefferson just because I feel like it's going to be Sony Michel, Cooper Kupp, and him. And
I agree.
have to pass.
Last one, Jerry Jeudy. I'm taking Mike Williams.
They're playing Kansas City, right? Yeah, they're playing Kansas City. Jerry Jeudy, I think. But I'm not loving it. Not loving it.
Yeah. Wouldn't feel great about either of those, but that's earlier in the year you would. Going on to our next game, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Tampa Bay kind of trying to they put up 38 points last week, but it's still off of the skid that they were going off of. It didn't seem like they had everything put together. Now, AB suspended for 3 games. I have no idea what's going on with that, but kind of reopens the door for Godwin, who I said Mike Evans and Godwin were my sell highs. And now, of course, they get this big opportunity with AB out for 3 more games.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing what Godwin and Evans can do with the absence of Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's one of those guys who can't get out of his own way. Just is what it is. Has one of the best things going for him in the league. You get to play with Tom Brady. You get to play on an explosive offense. But hey, the league just being real weird with this whole COVID thing. So yeah, play by their rules if you're going to take their paycheck. So he's suspended 3 games. At this point, can't do. I don't know if you drop him, but you definitely need to do something with Antonio Brown, just because you're not going to be able to utilize him to Carolina, the Carolina game, I believe, week 16, or is it going to be 17 against the Jets? So, but Godwin, Evans, they're going to be great. We saw what Fournette's been able to do over these last couple weeks, so I feel really good about all of them. Every starter, I said, give me Brady, Fournette, Godwin, Evans, Gronk, Suckup, and the Bucs defense. I said, give me one of each. I'm happy with all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I probably stick with you there. As for Atlanta,
the Bears.
It's Cordero and then your starting pits. But as we have kind of hashed over several times, I don't think you're feeling as good about Kyle Pitts as he used to. He's kind of in that a little bit better Noah Fant territory to me, where it's you could probably stream the position and get similar value, similar
you definitely can.
scoring, but it's easier to just keep the same guy in there.
You definitely can. Although they played Tampa Bay earlier on the year, and he got 12.3 fantasy points. But besides that, all of his games that he got above 10 points in full point PPR was against the Jets, Miami, and then he got 10 points on the dot in full point PPR against Dallas. So kind of split in terms of good teams and bad teams. Besides that, he hasn't got you above 10 points. I said Pitts and Gage are both scary starts, just because I think some people might have to be starting a Russell Gage this week.
Yeah.
I said he's a scary start, but Tampa Bay, their weak part is their pass D. So, if there is going to be a time, now is it.
Throw some names at you for Russell Gage. Would you rather start Russell Gage or Courtland Sutton?
Russell Gage. Give me the number 1.
I would also rather start Gage there. Kendrick Bourne. or Russell Gage?
Give me Kendrick Bourne. He's someone I picked up. I like him. He's currently wide receiver 22, and he didn't even start off like the super hottest of the starts. So, he's just been kind of inching his way up there.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for upside, then definitely Kendrick Bourne. If you're looking for a little bit more like safe, 5 catches, 50 yards, like just kind of get you through, Russell Gage would be.
Russell Gage is not as safe as everyone likes to think.
No,
though.
I don't think so.
He got 7 targets.
Volume-wise, he's going to be more safe than Kendrick Bourne.
But so they played Tampa Bay, obviously, week 2. He went 5 for 7, 28 yards, 7.8 fantasy points in full point PPR. Then, against Miami, New Orleans, and Jacksonville, that's when he kind of came alive and got you double digits. But against New England, 9.9. Against Dallas, he got you 0. So that's why I say he's a scary guy to start.
I wouldn't expect much more than like that 8 to 10 point range for Russell Gage anyway. It's just, I think with Kendrick Bourne, you could get like 16. You could also get 4. And that's kind of, if you want to do that, like if that is better for your lineup, then do that. If you need the upside, but if you need a little bit more safety, I would probably go Gage just because of how he's used, like short area of the field, more targets often. Going Jacksonville at the Rams. I mean, this is kind of like probably going to be just like a bully game for the Rams. They kind of take their frustration out over what's happened in the last few weeks. They had the bye week, but they lost right before it and right after it. And not the most like close game of losses either. They kind of got beat up pretty good. So probably just a game where they get to take the frustration out of that on a Jacksonville team that is not that great right now.
On paper, this should be a massacre from the Rams onto the Jacks. But Henderson, as we talked about, didn't practice yesterday. Odell didn't practice yesterday. 2 components of their team that they kind of need. They need the run game, and they need another option out there to pass, especially since Robert Woods is, out right now. So I'm not expecting like this massive massacre. I mean, obviously Cooper Kupp is just on another level this year, just on a tear. Van Jefferson is going to have to step up and become a number 2 for this team. I think he can, but I think it would have been easier if Henderson is going to play, which is kind of trending that he's not, because Sony Michel is not quite Darrell Henderson. So I'm not expecting a huge massacre, which is why I kind of like, I'm going to enjoy watching this game because I don't think it's going to be a massacre, but it's going to be Rams are going to win, but I think it's going to be closer. So I think, the wideout situation is going to be a little bit more favorable than it would be otherwise.
I feel like they're going to have enough to beat this team pretty handily still. Like, I think Sony Michel would be a good play this week if Henderson is out. It's like low RB2, kind of like low to mid RB2 range. I'm fine with people starting Sony Michel. I think that Van Jefferson will have a good day as well. I just can't see Jacksonville win. And maybe it's like
I can't see Jacksonville winning. I can't see that. I'm just saying, like,
I can't see it being that close.
It's Rams minus 13, and I think I'm taking Jacksonville plus 13.
Really?
I think it's going to be a close one. I think it could be a 10-point loss, kind of like Dallas, beating New Orleans last night. But, I mean, Robinson is looking like he's going to play. Robinson's been looking good. Chenault isn't like the worst option in the whole world. I think their team is pretty decent. I think it's going to make it a little bit more competitive, which only enhances. Like last night, you knew the Saints were going to lose. Like everyone kind of knew the Saints were going to lose going into the game. Everyone knows Jacksonville is going to lose this game, but kind of like how Dallas had to keep their starters out there just to be sure. I think the Rams are going to have to do the same thing, which is going to boost up. Michel's going to get some garbage time touches. And I think Van Jefferson is going to get more routes thrown his way than he would otherwise if, everyone was healthy.
Yeah, I think that I do think they're gonna cover. I could see like Stafford going off in this one as well. Kind of try to get him back in the MVP hunt. But yeah, I just think that the Rams kind of take control of this one personally. But I think we both say, are you starting Sony Michel and you said you wouldn't mind starting Jefferson. So
Yeah, I mean, if Henderson doesn't play, I'm starting Michelle because I think it's going to be a closer one anyway. So yeah, starting Cooper Kupp, Henderson, and Odell if they play. I don't think they will. I'd obviously be starting them. Starting Van Jefferson, starting Matt Gay, starting the defense, and I'm going to start Sony Michel.
Yeah, I think the point where if anybody watched our waiver episode, you'll know I would also, even if everyone's healthy, would start Odell, obviously Cooper Kupp, and Van Jefferson. I would throw Van Jefferson in there. I think even with Odell healthy, he can have his own role and be successful. We saw that a little bit last week. But yeah, on the Jacksonville side of things, James Robinson, and then my guy, James O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah, so I'm not with you on James O'Shaughnessy.
Not many people are yet, Cody. This is your chance to.
He's rostered in 0.03% of leagues.
This is your chance to get ahead of the curve.
The only reason he is up. The only reason
in the history books when they say those who believed in James O'Shaughnessy before everyone else did, it could be me and you side by side.
So the only reason that James O'Shaughnessy is up the 0.02% is because Kondo personally manages like 55 to 88 fantasy leagues and went in and rostered James O'Shaughnessy in all of them.
I mean,
so that's the only reason. I'm not.
Can I do at least my pitch for James O'Shaughnessy?
I can do it for you. I mean, it's going to be a pass happy game. Dan the man's out. Who else are they going to really throw to? They're going to throw short because Dan the man was doing pretty good. So, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I just think that at this point, he's not a guy. I mean, Tyler Conklin's been my man the entire year. And, like, I've been able to pick up other tight ends like a Dawson Knox.
Well, you traded for Dawson Knox, I want to say.
Traded for Dawson Knox in one league, picked him up in another league.
Really?
Yes. Like I said, there's different sorts of leagues, Kondo, novice league, and then actual good leagues. So like I've been able to get different sorts of guys throughout the year who I think are going to be better. I mean, I get it. O'Shaughnessy, one game above 10 fantasy points out of the 3 he's played. So
okay.
I said out of the 3 he played, there's a 33%.
Let's jump on that quick. He got hurt in the Denver game. I do want to make that very clear. He only played 3 snaps before he got hurt in one of the games.
Okay.
And he had.
But people still started him, and people were still counting on him.
Well, what does that mean? Yeah, well, like people played Christian McCaffrey and he got hurt. Like, what are you supposed to? Are you blaming him for getting hurt? Like, if we expect him to get to be healthy, like I'm not projecting. Oh, yeah, James O'Shaughnessy is going to get hurt 3 snaps in. We're not projecting that these unpredictable injuries are going to happen. Obviously,
you should get better because I predicted it. That's why I didn't have him on the team. So I mean, you should have just been a little bit better.
Sure, I'm pretty sure neither of us knew who James O'Shaughnessy was a week ago.
I've never heard of him. Never
heard
of him.
6 for 48 on 8 targets in week 1. Played 80% of the snaps, and then played 80% of the snaps last week. 3 for 29 on 5 targets, 7.9 for you. So, like, I think from a replacement level tight end, you're not looking for like, if a guy can give you over 7 points a game, like that's awesome for a replacement level tight end that's out there in every single league. I'm not saying like you're starting him over Waller. I'm not even saying you start him over Waller's replacement, Fabian Moreau. I think like he's a guy, if you're like in a situation where I was like with Noah Fant, I would rather play James O'Shaughnessy than Noah Fant.
So tight end 11 and 12 in terms of the rank right now is Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, followed by Dallas Goedert, Logan Thomas, Tyler Higbee, Jared Cook. Those are, I mean, Zach Ertz, Tyler Conklin are down there too. I just think like there's a bunch of guys who are definitely
Can we play like
replaceable.
name game with it then?
I mean, I just kind of did. I mean, Noah Fant and Gesicki are 11 and 12 in terms of like the projections right now. They have easy-ish opponents. I mean, Noah Fant's playing Kansas City. They're loose against the pass. And Mike Gesicki's playing the Giants, who's middle of the road in terms of pass, and he's not even going to be the number one guy out there when they have Gaskins on this week. When Gaskins going to go off, he's going to be the focus. Then Goddard's playing the Jets. Logan Thomas is playing the Raiders, who are 31st. Higbee's playing Jacksonville, so if the game does get close with Odell or not close, but, like they have to pass it, Odell probably won't play, neither will Henderson, so it opens up some targets for him.
I would start him over Higbee. I wouldn't start him over Gesicki. I would start him over Higbee. I would start him over Fant.
Fant against the Raiders. That's
Fant against
tough.
Chiefs.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they played an opponent last week in Jesus. I remember just because he was on my team and the opponent like projection for like how good they were in the Chargers. And the Chargers were giving up like, I think it was 28th against the tight end, I want to say.
Who, Chargers?
Yeah. They're allowing the fourth most points to tight ends, and he had a dud last week. So like that doesn't really matter that much to me for Fant because I've seen him go up against a good team that is favorable to the tight end and throw up 2.7 or 3 points. So like 4.2, sorry. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm not as high on Fant, I guess. But yeah, I don't think that he's a guy that you're thinking right now that you're going to start every week. But I think he's worth a roster spot, and in a lot of positions, I think he's worth playing because we were playing Dan Arnold. Like a lot of people were putting Dan Arnold in their tight end spot, and I don't see much of a difference with James O'Shaughnessy.
I guess I trust Dan the man more, just because he has been around, has been able to do it more often than not. But hey, like you said, target every single week that he's played if he can be healthy. Just so the record knows. I just want to say it now, just in case someone gets mad at me. He seems to get hurt every second game after he's been healthy. So there is a chance you start James O'Shaughnessy, the 0.03% of you who have him out there, and he goes out, runs 3 plays, gets hurt. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm, trying to warn you of. But hey, again,
now
I get it.
I do think that's a little bit like, what's the word? I think there was some malicious intent there because you are very vocally saying that you're always right. And if that's true, I think that's you wishing injury on, not maybe even wishing injury, but maybe voodooing injury on James O'Shaughnessy. And I don't think that's right.
So I didn't wish ill on him. I'm just informing the public here who might be less informed on the inner workings and the inner rituals that go on in certain teams. I mean, there's a reason they had to bring in Dan the Man. That's all I'm saying. There's a reason they went out and got Dan the Man. There seemed to be some distrust in James O'Shaughnessy.
Well, he was hurt. That's why they did it.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, hurt, not hurt. I mean, Raiders aren't going out and bringing in another tight end because Waller's hurt. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All I'm saying.
Speaking of hurt tight ends, Las Vegas Raiders. Fabian Moreau, talked about him in our James O'Shaughnessy conversation. I think that he's a good spot start if you're missing Waller, if you need a tight end this week. So hopefully you picked him up already, because I'm sure that he has been picked up in a good portion of leagues so far. He may still be out there in some, especially like some 10
Rostered in
teamers.
25% of leagues.
That's wild. Okay, well pick him up.
He jumped up 24.4%.
Yeah,
in like the past like day or week or whatever. So he's been getting picked up, just because everyone knows that there's certain teams in the league that utilize a tight end more than others. Everyone saw Darren Waller's 84 targets that he's had on the year so far. They have to go somewhere because Derek Carr is kind of a rhythmic sort of quarterback back there. So he's going to look for the tight end a little bit. That's what I like him. I like, Moreau this week. Josh Jacobs, shocker. Here we go. Limited participant due to an ankle injury on Thursday. So it's going to slow him down a little bit. Deshaun Jackson, also a guy, calf, was not in attendance on Thursday's practice. So there's going to have to be passes to be caught out there. Moreau is going to be the guy. Obviously, Hunter Renfrow too, but Moreau is another guy I'm liking.
Surprisingly high over-under in this one, which makes me think that, like you said, it is going to be a pretty pass-happy game. So on the other side, I think one of the people that I'm most encouraged by is Logan Thomas. I mean, Logan Thomas had 6 targets in his first game back, and it looked like they were scheming up plays to get him the ball. So I'm very encouraged by Logan Thomas. Obviously, Antonio Gibson too. Antonio Gibson had a heck of a game. So this is, kind of an opportunity for this Washington offense. One of the names that I didn't bring up there is Terry. I'm hopeful for Terry, but
I think everyone's hopeful.
Last game scared me a little bit, I'll be honest.
Did it really?
Because it just didn't seem like they were making it like a top priority to get him the ball, where it looked like they were trying to get Logan Thomas involved. They were trying to get, and I'm not too worried about Terry, because it's like I said, like, how worried can you really be in the grand scheme of things when the other wide receivers are also struggling? Like, there's a bunch of wide receivers that are also struggling. Like, Terry's still ranked by Fantasy Bros as the number 11 wide receiver this week, which is crazy. But who do you have more? There's a bunch of top name guys that I have a lot of concerns about, whether that be DeAndre Hopkins, obviously DK, Lockett, also in that kind of mix. Mike Evans with consistency stuff. So there's a ton of people that you have concerns about that are in that kind of top 15, top 20 mix. And I mean, you play Terry, obviously, but the opportunity's been there all year, and he just hasn't. I don't think it's all his. I don't think it's even mostly his fault, but it just hasn't really come to fruition. Totally.
So you kind of brought up this point when we talked about Mike Williams, I think last week, and how he wasn't getting the targets that he's used to. In the past 4 weeks that they've played, Scary Terry got 7 targets, 8 targets, 7 targets, 7 targets. He got you 6.5, 11.9, 21.3 of a touchdown, and 9.1. I mean, earlier on in the season, we saw a different Scary Terry. He was on a tear. 10,
I don't know that we did, though.
So he got less first game against Chargers. 4 targets, 10.2 fantasy points, no touchdown. Second week, 14 targets, obviously doubled what he's getting now. Got you 27.7 in touchdown. Against Buffalo, one of the best defenses that we've seen this year, 7 targets, 10.2 fantasy points. I mean, he was looking good then, and he's kind of fallen off.
I want to add to that, in half point, those 10.2s are not like double digits. So like you're not
Right, and the
feeling good about
11.9
those.
that he got against Tampa Bay also doesn't count then too for Scary
Yeah.
Terry.
And you're
So
not feeling like that good about those in like half point when you picked up Terry, like I did in like the third round. So like our fourth round, I probably was a little bit more high on him. So yeah, I mean, I just traded Terry at deadline. Like I was a little bit worried about it.
Mhm.
And I got back like there's other players involved. But I got back Sterling Shepard and I was like, if Sterling Shepard is healthy, which is the big if, and I wasn't relying on Terry, but I think he can perform as well as Terry for me. Because if you look at it, like Terry's weeks have been when he's had touchdowns, and he has more upside than Sterling Shepard for sure. But like, I think that consistency that Sterling Shepard could get me, again, the biggest inconsistency with him is being on the field, but the consistency he can get me when on the field is like probably matches Terry at the worst.
I mean, I'm more high on Sterling Shepard just because of the 3 games that Sterling Shepard got you double digits in. He got you double digits in full point and half point PPR, whereas Scary Terry really hasn't done that for you. In half point PPR, he's got you obviously the couple 20s that he's gotten you, but most of these lower, like 11 or 12 point, 13, 14 point, full point PPR get you underneath in half point PPR leagues. But again, Sterling Shepard has to be healthy for him to utilize himself in the way that we hope he does. But Scary Terry has been healthy, close to the entire year and just still not performing consistently. That's why his name's Scary Terry, is what is. You kind of knew it, it all just depends on the type of player that you want. Scary Terry, Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, those are like wide receiver 2s. And they're kind of set wide receiver 2s because some weeks they're just going to go off for 20, 30 points. But then other weeks they're going to get you 5 fantasy points and full point PPR leagues. So those are wide receiver 2s. It all depends on your on your team. If you want an upside guy, put him in. If you want a guy who's safer, Sterling Shepard.
Right. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. This game, I don't know. I mean, Pittsburgh's been pretty bad against the pass, so I guess that gives you some positive feelings about Hollywood Brown, who I just made a trade. You just made a trade for Hollywood Brown. So how do you feel about him this week and probably going forward too?
So I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Hollywood Brown fan. But I had depth at the running back position, at least for now. So I, utilized the trade value on some guys who aren't going to be as valuable moving forward. Got Hollywood Brown, Dawson Knox, and Brandon Cook. So I utilize them to get some good wide receiver weapons. Hollywood Brown is he's the number 1 option on the team. I think he has 92 targets on the year. Mark Andrews is definitely right there. I believe he has 89, 90 or something like that. Pretty close to
I would say
Hollywood.
it's like a 1A, 1B thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's the Walmart version of a Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, because I think everyone would rather have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
I would agree.
Mark Andrews is performing well, and Marquise Brown has weeks that he can't perform well. It's I believe this is a rivalry game. Maybe I don't know. I feel like every game
it is a rivalry.
Every game,
I'm just saying.
Right.
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Tony Pollard. Really might stoke the fire in him because it's a rivalry game. We might see the heart come out.
Yeah, I mean, he missed the Chicago game, week 11, and he comes back against Cleveland, gets 10 targets. I mean,
he's been kind of a target monster, which
in
is
the past
a
4
difference
weeks
this year.
I mean, the past 4 weeks that we've seen him play, going back to week 7, 14 targets, 12 against Minnesota, 13 against Miami, 10 against Cleveland. I'm expecting 10 targets, which, he has the ability to break plays long. He's a fast wide receiver. not many people in the league can run with him, and he is pretty crafty. So I'm encouraged by it. It's a rivalry game. It's going to be a tough one for a whole lot of offense, as we've seen so far. But I'm encouraged by it. I'm not sitting Hollywood Brown unless you have just crazy wide receiver weapons.
Are you sitting Devontae Freeman?
Yeah, almost in a heartbeat. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Lamar Jackson and Taysom Hill kind of take away a whole lot of the running back sexiness, I guess, just because, throwing the S word out there, just really letting people know. But when Lamar's out there, he's the RB1 for the team. He runs the ball as much, if not more, than the running backs do, just like Taysom Hill did last night. There's nothing wrong with it because obviously Lamar gets you good fantasy points, but it just takes away from the value of like a Najee Harris where Big Ben's not going to run because he can't physically move. So Najee gets the dump offs and all those little quick give me passes. When the pocket breaks down, Lamar takes it himself. So Devontae Freeman loses those touches out the backfield like that, little swings. So he loses value for me just because he's going to have to run for over 100 yards and a touchdown to get you double digits.
I agree, especially with Latavius back in the fold too.
Exactly.
Trying to avoid both of those guys. On the Pittsburgh side, obviously Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, but some of the more question mark guys, I would say quickly, I think Pat Freiermuth is like a weekly start at tight end now. Like I think if you have him, you're like sick.
Mhm.
I don't need to worry about tight end for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Kind of a Dawson Knox light to me. Has the potential to be that scoring option. I think they look for him in the red zone. Pittsburgh just doesn't get in the red zone as much as Buffalo does.
Buffalo has a much better quarterback, much better wide receiver core, worse running back core than Najee Harris. But obviously, Najee Harris is a special athlete. I don't mind Pat Freiermuth. I'm not loving it going forward as like a week in, week out guy, but definitely a guy you can have in rotation. Just cleared the concussion protocol, so obviously that's a great sign. He could be a good start this week. I just think moving forward, he's not a guy who I'm loving week in, week out, especially since you could have picked up a Conklin, a Knox, an Uzma. You could have picked up a bunch of these guys earlier on in the season and been plugging and playing these guys. Because as we talked about.
Yeah, but it's hard to see those performances. Like none of us saw that coming for most of them, I would say.
Right, but once we talked about it, we talked about other guys much higher on the waiver order than those tight ends that you could have utilized even if you won the week. You had pick 8, 9, or 10. You still could have picked up Dawson Knox because we talked about him for like 3 weeks, where he was underneath like 40, 30% rostered. So, like I said, Pat Freiermuth is definitely a guy who can help you. I just am not loving him week in and week out as a consistent starter. But really, besides like the top 4 guys, Kelsey, Kittle, Waller when healthy, Hawkinson, and Mark Andrews, those are the guys who I'm kind of 5 guys.
I thought you said
besides
4.
Those, what? Did I say 4 or 5? 4. Oh, I thought I said 4 or 5 guys. Sorry.
Oh, maybe.
My bad.
I don't know.
Yeah, you just don't listen to me. You just don't listen to me. That's why we have to go to couple therapy tomorrow. So,
That's true. That's why we can't do Saturdays in the new schedule or the schedule.
Right.
Going to San Francisco at Seattle. Can Seattle turn it around? Is part of the episode title. I ask you, can Seattle turn it around against San Francisco this week?
Can they turn it around? Absolutely. I believe everyone, is fully capable of doing a 360 in life. All it is a 90-degree 4 times. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you really need. Believe you can do it. Russell Wilson, he's had 3 weeks back from the injury, and each week he's looked a little bit better. I mean it. He threw 161 yards, then 207, then 247.
So he's
So
just
it's
one more rotation away from that 360.
right. Like he's one more away from the 360. I think DK, he's healthy right now. Not any question about it or at least yet. There's still today and tomorrow where he could, do something stupid and roll an ankle. But for right now, he's healthy. So I think he comes back into it. It's really the running back situation. I mean, Alex Collins was limited with an abdomen sprain for yesterday's practice. So I think he will.
Abdomen sprain?
That's what it said.
That's
Abdomen.
wild injury. I'd never heard of that before.
Oh, it's abdomen. I don't know if it was a sprain. It's abdomen. I saw sprain earlier. I saw sprain earlier on in the week. I just put the two together. I don't know.
I mean,
Something
it might
was-
be. You're not saying that it's not. You're just saying
Right.
it's not definitely.
It's not definitely, but it's definitely not. Okay. So there's a potential.
Mhm.
But yeah, like this is like the first time really that they don't have a great running game. I mean, they normally have a guy who can at least take some pressure off of the pass game, put it back into the backfield. We saw what the Vikings were able to do last week against the Niners, so I feel like Seahawks should be able to do similarly well.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say they're not. I feel pretty confident that they're not going to let DK only get 4 targets in this next game. I think that they're going to make it a point to at least target him a lot. I don't know how many he's going to catch, but I think he's going to get at least 8 targets. And they're going to try to get the ball to him because they can't have what happened last time happen again.
Right.
I agree. The running back is a big key to this offense, as is the offensive line, which has not been good in what feels like forever. So that's kind of what I'm worried about, holds them back. But I still think that they're going to be somewhat viable in the process, at least for fantasy purposes. Alex Collins scares me. He's kind of, I think he's ranked a little bit low here. He's sitting at 34 in consensus ranks at running back, below guys like Darrell Williams, Matt Breida, Rex Burkhead, who I would start him over all of those guys. I am not a big Alex Collins guy. San Francisco is allowing the 13th most fantasy points to running back, so it's not necessarily a favorable matchup. I, again, don't feel great about putting him out there, but would you rather put Devontae Freeman out there, or would you rather put Alex Collins out there?
Give me Alex Collins. We know that Seattle likes to give the ball to the running back, and we know that Russ will dish the ball down. Which, I mean, in full point leagues, Freeman could run, 12 times for 60 yards. Alex Collins can run it 15 for 50. Or if he gets 3 swing passes out the backfield for 3 yards, he beats him. I mean, Russ does look at the running back a lot more than Lamar does. So give me him.
Yeah. I think I'm going. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you.
Man, I'm great at this fantasy analyst thing.
You are really on fire today.
I that's a really tough and gross call. I would probably go with Collins just because there's less competition, but I wouldn't feel good about myself in saying that.
I don't feel great.
As for San Francisco, Debo expected to miss at least this week, probably, or maybe another week. Ayuk expected to take kind of the number 1 role, but he was already kind of getting some of that with how much Debo was in the backfield.
Right. I mean, in the past couple of weeks, we have kind of seen Brandon Ayuk kind of become the number 1 back there as Debo just shifted to becoming a running back, which is fine. I mean, dual threat. He's your best player. I don't think it's going to be too big of a shock for them. I mean, obviously you lose Deebo Samuel, your most explosive weapon on the field, which is always a bummer. but I'm not expecting like a huge drop off, like the Brendan Ayuk of earlier on in the season where we're like, get rid of him, you know. But I'm not seeing like the best game. Seattle is pretty weak against the run, so I could see this being a Mitchell game for a while, and then Ayuk just getting some, give me passes just to keep the defense honest. But starting them if you have them, just a little bit worried and kind of hoping and praying here that he gets a bunch of volume.
Agreed. Denver at Kansas City. Melvin Gordon missed practice again today. That kind of opens the Javonte floodgates, and we've talked about this for a while. The excitement about Javonte Williams. Well, might finally have something to be like very, very excited about because he's playing Kansas City, who hasn't been anything special against opposing running backs. And he could have this backfield all to himself and kind of have a chance to show off. Where do you put Javonte? Like, I think he's starting for pretty much anybody, but
I feel like he's starting for every team. Unless you just have a God squad, then obviously not. But I feel like if you were starting Melvin Gordon, you're definitely starting Williams now.
I would rather start him than like
I'd start him over. He's going to be an RB2 at Williams.
I would start him over Jamal Williams, I think.
It'd be a tough one. I wouldn't blame you for doing it, but Jamal Williams is going to be playing Minnesota. Minnesota is really banged up this year, so the run game's going to be there. But I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. I guess it's kind of like a coin toss because Kansas City has been just about as bad as Minnesota is against a run. So I won't fault you either way. Either Williams this week, I think you're fine.
Yeah, agreed. As for the pass catchers, rough week last week. I think if I had to trust somebody the most, it would be Judy. But I don't trust any of them.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Jeudy isn't, what we kind of expected Jerry Jeudy to be.
This pass offense isn't what we expected or what we hoped. I think it is probably what we expected, but I don't know if it's what we hoped with all of kind of the talent they have at receiver.
They have a lot. They have a lot of talent, underutilized. So it's tough to watch just because, Jerry Jeudy, Patrick, Sutton, Fant, they all have talent. You have Williams and Gordon out there who are both good running backs. I don't know. I guess Jeudy, but Kansas City has been getting better in terms of, allowing fewer and fewer fantasy points to the wide receivers. They're currently 7th. So, you're kind of hoping for – you got to be hoping for a touchdown for these guys because, in half-point leagues, Jerry Jeudy got 8 targets against Dallas and 9 against Philly, and he would have got you underneath double digits in half-point leagues. In full point, he got you 12.9, 11.1. But, 8 and 9 targets, and he's barely getting you double digits in full-point leagues. That's not super, exciting, and especially as you're trying to inch your way, if you're 5th seed trying to inch your way up in the 4th, not a guy that you really want.
Agreed. Yeah, not a guy that you want to rely on. And I'm just not sure, upside exists in this Denver Broncos receiving core. So, I'd rather take a shot on a guy with more upside than hope that Jeudy can get me 10. With
Cortland Sutton has been the most upsided wide receiver. I'm not sure if upside is a word, but Cortland Sutton is the only guy to get you 24.9, 25, and 23.4.
Did you guys see that?
I saw your hand. That was all I saw.
No, it was like the in Karate Kid. I freaking caught it out of midair.
He used chopsticks. But hey, I'll give it to you. You could have got some. I'm not gonna tell you that you should.
Well, I didn't know that there was.
You should have been prepared, Kondo. Okay.
An event that happened where I would have to.
Are you always prepared if you lose a flat tire or something like that? Are you prepared?
I didn't even write notes for the show.
I wrote notes. I take care. here I am. I stayed up to 2 in the morning, not for the
That's
show.
definitely not true. I
I was up.
texted you at like 11 p.m. and you were asleep.
Yeah, I was passed out. I think I went to bed at like 8:30 last night, and I was ready for bed.
Kansas City, I think people forget about just like the impact that one, like CH was having before he got hurt, and then two, like he had a solid game last week. Like I think it's pretty undersold like how decent CH has been of late. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of like excited to see what he does coming back into full health.
Yeah, I mean, CH is a very, very good running back too. I don't think. I think we both agree CH will not be an RB1. Um, I think he's a guy who can get you, in between that 12 to 18 point range if he can get that touchdown. I don't think, he doesn't have the immense upside just because we know it is a pass happy team. Like when he was healthy, he had 17 rushes for 100 yards, and he got you 16.9 fantasy points. So, I mean, like, Jonathan Taylor gets you 100 yards and he got you somehow like 25 fantasy points. Is the way he does it is a little bit different. But you're starting CEH, obviously. It's great to have him back. The team does look a little bit better with him out there just because I think he is a step above Darrell Williams.
I think it's nice to just have both of those guys.
Both of those guys are good, but I think CEH just offers a little bit more than Darrell does because their team looked. I think their team just looks a little bit better with him out there, and I mean, I don't know. It's going to be fun to see. Denver is ranked as a great defense, but they're really not the like elite stopping defense that people assume they are. They've just been playing some lesser talent.
I mean, I think they're solid, but like, yeah, it'll be like a test to see are the Chiefs really like back against like this defense that I think is pretty good. Their offense doesn't often help them,
right.
But like, yeah, I expect Kansas City to still do what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. They're going to perform like Kansas City. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Last game on the docket: New England at Buffalo. New England's going to win this game. First off,
yeah,
they're going to find a way to do it, and
so nervous about this game.
It's going to happen on that. It's supposed to have an over/under next to it, and I'll do that very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, as a guy who loves doing parlay bets, this is a game I had to stay away from, just because
I'm all in on New England.
I want to be all in on Buffalo, but at the same time, I feel like New England. I feel like both teams can win this game, and I don't feel like I should feel this way. But you got Bill Belichick back there, shot calling for you. It's hard to not feel great about those odds. I mean,
yeah.
Bill Belichick, probably the greatest ever coach. Mac Jones has kind of come into it as the best rookie quarterback by almost a landslide. I feel like it's unanimous at this point. And I mean, to have Damien Harris and Stevenson to run, both of them are good. You have Hunter Henry, who's a solid tight end, and you got Myers, Bourne, Aguilar. I mean, you have some weapons out there to throw to. It makes it tough, and their defense has obviously just been.
Yeah.
I mean, the literal number one defense. It's going to be tough to say like Bills are going to blow them out, but Bills are also a really good team too. So it's like, it's who to trust.
For New England, it's weird because they're such a good football team, but they are maybe one of the worst fantasy teams. Like they have some guys that can deliver for you kind of sporadically. Damien Harris was the most consistent, and then we saw Ramondre kind of grow into this, which kind of puts, I would say, like Damien Harris, like kind of flex territory at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Damien Harris is still the 20th ranked running back right now. He missed a Cleveland game, and he's still ranked number 20. Kind of based off of injury, but also he has had a couple good monster performances.
He's got a lot of touchdowns this year as well,
Right.
and that has
I
certainly boosted.
feel like, you talked about this for someone yesterday. I can't quite remember who, but you said that he's a guy who can score a lot, and I feel like Damien Harris gets put into an opportunity.
I said
to
James
score.
Conner. Like, if
Right,
you
you said it was James Conner. I think
There's-
Damien Harris is an offense in which there is no set stud out there, and so there is. I mean, obviously, Mac Jones is an accurate quarterback. He can pass it, but teams have to respect that as much as they do the run game. And Bill Belichick's just a mastermind of manipulating what the defense is going to do against you. That's why I think I'm not worried about Damien Harris kind of being touchdown dependent, because he is more than likely going to score week in, week out if it's going to be a close game.
I'm starting him in the flex territory, I would say, higher end flex territory, and then maybe Jacoby Myers in full point, but outside of that, I don't think I'm starting him. Those are kind of my two guys I'm going with. I know you feel a lot better about Kendrick Bourne.
I think Kendrick Bourne is an interesting option. Currently 24th ranked wide receiver. He's been pretty consistent. I mean, his worst games was weeks 1 and 2, where he got 2.7, 4.6. Since then, he hasn't got you below 5.8 fantasy points, which is better than a bunch of these wide receiver twos, like a Tyler Lockett, who's put up duds. Williams, who's put up duds. I mean, Claypool's put up duds. A lot of these other wide receiver twos
I don't know if I would say Claypool is a wide receiver too.
All right, but you know what I'm saying with Lockett, Williams, these guys who are kind of,
still higher credibility than Kendrick Bourne in most circles.
Higher credibility, but this guy's doing it on less targets. I mean, it's an interesting guy, and he has the potential to get you a 20-point game because he's done it 3 times this year, 2 times in the past 3 weeks. He did it against Cleveland, and he did it against Tennessee. Now he's playing Buffalo, which is going to be a tougher, defense. But I still feel like he has a chance to score a touchdown for you. That's just kind of where my hope is, just because as of late, he has been doing extraordinarily well, especially compared to some of these other guys who he's not going to be anyone's wide receiver 1. More than likely, he's your wide receiver 2 option or a flex option. And I think a guy who can go for 20 points, but also not get you below 5 is going to help you. Whereas, if you put Mike Williams in, you're hoping for a big game.
Well, I think it's the same. I think it's kind of a Mike Williams, I would say even light. It's not as potentially not as explosive of an offense. Now, I get they have been. The Chargers have had their struggles, so you make that argument. But I think it's kind of a similar situation of you're risking scoring single digits for the potential of a mega week, for the potential of a touchdown and getting over 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, I just like Kendrick Bourne because there is no other stud on that roster. Whereas a bunch of other teams out here, you have 2 or 3 other guys above you. I mean, just to continue with Mike Williams, just because keep it consistent, Mike Williams has to fight off the Austin Eckler touches and the Keenan Allen touches. I mean, if you look at the Patriots, Jacoby Myers gets the short work, but Kendrick Bourne gets that deep work. And I think that's what kind of entices you to want him on your roster.
Yeah, I get that. I also
Are you going? So since this is the Monday game, are you going? Obviously, you're not going to put Kendrick Bourne above Stephon Diggs. That's just ridiculous for anyone. Are you going to put him above Beasley, Sanders, Matt Breida?
I mean, I'm putting him above Sanders for sure. think about Beasley here. I think it depends on the format as well. Like if it's full point PPR, and again, depending on my need, if I want I think Beasley and Jacoby Myers are safer options. And I would probably go Beasley over him, but I don't know that in half point PPR I am.
Beasley, week 6 got the 21.8 bomb. 7 they had the bye. Week 8 they played Miami. Just absolute stud of a team Miami has been, and he put up 21. Then against Jacksonville, he put up.
Miami's actually been very good of late, giving up 17 points in their last 4 games.
We talk a lot, garbage about Miami.
Less than that.
Okay, that wasn't the last 4 games for Miami though. This was
no, it was not. It was not.
Then they played Jacksonville, got 11.3. Did Jets, he got 3.5. Indy,
I'm also looking
New Orleans 9.6. That's why I think Bourne gives you. Bourne's been hotter, whereas Beasley's kind of cooling off, which is where I'm putting Bourne above Beasley, because I think a lot of teams could have a Cole Beasley-esque person and a Kendrick Bourne sort of person, and I think Kendrick Bourne is going to outperform some of these guys. You want the guy who's getting hot late, not the guy who's cooling off early.
I don't know about that.
You want a guy?
I don't know that he's cooling. I wouldn't say cooling off. I mean, I'm fine with Beasley, I said, as a PPR guy, full point PPR guy, because that's kind of the role that you put him into.
But as of late,
he's not played his best football of late. If I can,
that's what I'm saying. He's kind of came off of that though.
Keep talking. I just think that there's more of a chance for a floor, and I don't. And you can make the argument that there's not, but I do think that there's more of a chance for a floor in a full point PPR. Would rather be the guy that I would look for again if I'm looking for that kind of option, which is just what I gravitate to more, is the safety than the risk of a Kendrick Bourne.
He has in the past start of the season, he needs 9 or more targets to get you double digits. Okay. If you think that he's going Cole Beasley, I'm saying, if you think Cole Beasley, who in the past 3 games got 2 targets, 5 targets, is going to jump up to this monster target share, double it basically to get you 10 against New England, I don't think you can see it, whereas I could see New England.
Well, I can see it, and that's really the point.
I think. All right, but whereas in the past 4 or 3 games, Cole Beasley.
You've said this
4.55, but Kendrick Bourne got 4.46, and he's gotten you double digits 2 out of the 3, and then 8.9, which is above Cole Beasley. So again, that's why I'm going with him, even though they're getting the same amount of targets. So I guess your target share in PPR doesn't make sense to me because they're getting the same amount of targets as of late, and Cole Beasley is underperforming.
Well, I think it's one is the upside, the safety of just the role that Cole Beasley plays. I guess like I said, and I don't want to keep repeating stuff.
But what you're saying isn't making sense though, because you said he's a floor guy, but I just showed you Kendrick Bourne's floor is above him. So I guess the floor option and argument doesn't make any sense to me if they're getting the same amount of targets as of late, and Kendrick Bourne is vastly outperforming Cole Beasley.
I think if you look at agreed, I would say this. I trust Cole Beasley more, number one, just because it's Cole Beasley. I just trust. I do put some stake into the name of it. And number two, I think it's more likely than not, and maybe that's dumb of me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in 12 games. So it's a 50-50 shot that Kendrick Bourne goes off. I think that there's a better chance, especially in a game like New England, where they take away your best weapon. Diggs taken out of the game. They're not going to run the ball because they don't run the ball. But Diggs could be limited, and I think that this is a game where one of those other guys can step up, and I would rather put my money on Beasley in that circumstance. I think they're going to throw more in this game as well, just because it's Buffalo. Like that's kind of their MO is throwing the ball around, where New England is like very balanced in every sense of the word.
Correct.
So I think those signs, or maybe not signs, but maybe you could even say just like more of like a gut feeling leans me towards Beasley in that regard.
Last thing I'll say about it, Cole Beasley, if you're going off of ESPN, which is where most of people play their fantasy football, they tell you a little thing about boom bust. Cole Beasley busted 5 times, boom twice. Kendrick
if you're
Bourne,
trusting the ESPN boom bust, I'll tell you what.
Can I talk? Thank you.
You didn't let me.
I did. I stopped talking and listened to you. Kendrick Bourne.
It took a minute.
Kendrick Bourne has yet to bust boom 5 times, has 1.5 points more.
If you listen to ESPN for your fantasy advice, why are you even listening to us?
I'm just saying, I'm just listing where I got the information from. Can I not list where the information is coming from? Because last time I did it without giving you the information, you got mad at me and said, where'd you get this information?
You can, but you're just giving credit to ESPN. Hey, if you're going to rely on ESPN, then just I'm giving my opinion.
And I'm giving fact.
And that means something.
I guess that's different. I guess fact is better than opinion, is what I'm saying.
Okay, Mr. Gut Feeling. You're as much of a gut feeling guy as anything. Wouldn't you? I thought you would say, yeah, I respect you for making a gut call for once. I'm normally the fact guy.
You're the opinion guy, and you pose it as fact. I give you fact.
When
I tell you Dave Montgomery's going to miss 4 to 5, and then 2 days later it comes out he's going to miss 4 to 5, I'm giving you the facts before they come out.
You also said that James O'Shaughnessy is going to get hurt this week.
I said there's a good chance if you follow the trend. He played a game, got hurt the next game. He played a game last week. He's going to get hurt this week is all I'm saying. Prepare yourself. So, hey, if you trust Allen more,
second take extra, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Not that I trust it, like they're just going to throw more. Is a big thing for me. So we got to talk about. I think last person here is Matt Breida. Breida, I think there's some like extra hype that like is not maybe warranted with him. He did score a touchdown, but he also played 32% of snaps. We talked about this earlier in the week. I guess we don't have to spend too much time on it, but like if you're looking for a good running back option in Buffalo, you're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Breida's not the guy that you want to go with. Sorry, I was just looking up the Josh Allen versus Mac Jones spread here. Mac Jones is the more accurate quarterback, in case anyone was wondering.
I did not say.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen throws below 70% more times than Mac Jones does. So I like 7 out of 10 more than like 5 out of 10.
Who are you arguing? Who are you arguing against?
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying. Give him the stats. You said you trust Josh Allen more. I'm just giving you the facts.
I said I don't know if I trust him more, but I trust Buffalo to throw the ball more.
You said you trust Josh Allen more. That's all I heard.
I literally answered the question. I said, I corrected myself and I said, I don't know if I trust him more. I trust them to throw the ball more.
Hey, Josh Allen's thrown more interceptions. That's all I got to say.
I also did not say that he didn't. Who are you talking to? Okay, that's it.
Love it.
This one's for you. Flex spot this week: Jamar Chase or 9 or 49.
Give me 9 or 49.
It's a tough call. I would say like 9 or 49 again. If he can just clean up some of the language.
Don't clean up.
I'm all on board.
I
want to give it another week to really see if it can happen. Deontay Johnson automatic start, of course. Yes, very safe option. Had a catch in every game he's played. I'm no math guy, but he had a 33% target share on routes he ran in week 2 versus Denver. Calling back to week 2 is, I'm going to be honest, not sure that's like Oh, they play Denver this? No, they don't play Denver.
He's talking about James O'Shaughnessy because this is from earlier on when we were talking about James O'Shaughnessy, and he said he got hurt week 2, third play in on the second passing play, and he caught the pass for 20 yards.
There you go. I love it. That is, I mean, he's right. I'm not a math guy either, but like, can't argue that. And like you said, it's all about the facts. So Smokey the Cat, which is also someone that I think deserves to be in consideration. I think we need to like expand our list to a top 5 power rankings.
Yeah,
Smokey
top
the
3
Cat
just seems too
should
short.
be in the running there. So glad I played Gallup over Cooper and played Pollard. Do we drop Taysom now since he has that injured finger? I think like luckily we have a little bit of time to figure out more about it.
Yeah.
Because even with that injured finger, like that was what, the first, second drive? Like he played the whole game with it and he still scored 20 fantasy points with 4 picks. I don't think he's going to throw 4 picks in every game. So
yeah, I think it's going to be 5 or 6 picks every game. But, as long as he just keeps running the ball, doesn't feed Mark Ingram or Kamara, then absolutely gets you those points.
I don't
like being famous. I like being unknown.
like these. I don't like these a lot. Like
Brandon is Trail 23. I appreciate it. I enjoy, no one knowing my name.
Yes, like you can be Trill. Just please, like, just do something else. Like, there's no reason to like. I feel like the only thing worse than buying followers is being the person who like prompts people to buy followers. And like, I don't want that for you, Brand. Like, I don't want to talk shit about like this isn't a branded thing. Brandon's Trill.
Let's go, Brandon.
Like you still have time. Like Brandon, you look like a young guy. You look like a guy who has a lot of life ahead of him. And I just want you to like get out of this on the other side and like not buy followers or prompt people to buy followers.
You know what? If you want people to buy something,
if you ever need to talk,
Girl Scout cookies. That's where you need to start going. Girl Scout cookies are universally
that. So if you could get in touch with any Girl Scouts, like that sounds wrong. If you could like
communicate with
the Girl Scouts
with their maybe their pack leader.
Communicate with like probably like whoever runs it. Is probably like the better thing. And like sell Girl Scout cookies, then I think that's a much better gig.
Right.
Who has more upside, Hollywood or Madison? Madison is an RB1. So.
But for how long though?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would just be like for this week. I suppose it could be for.
I assumed it was ROS. This seems to be how most of his questions are phrased. Or her. We don't know. We don't know the gender of JK40, nor do we want to assume.
You know what happens when you assume?
Normally you get it right, but I mean, it is what it is.
No, it's you make an ass out of you and I
don't get it.
Neither do I, but I've been told that before. Do I start Matt Barkley, I assume. Boyd Knox. Who is Matt B?
Matt Pareto.
Oh. Yeah, Dawson Knox. Is Javonte Cam Akers of 2021? I think he could be. I mean, it depends how long this Melvin Gordon thing happens for. But yeah, we all expected a Javonte kind of breakout. That's why he was drafted so high. I don't think people expected it to be this late, but it seems like it is. It seems like it's hopefully the opportunities here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Do I start Sean Jackson or Crowder? Jackson was at practice this week, or not this week, today. He came back to practice. I mean, has Crowder done anything?
Crowder hasn't done much. The upside of Jackson's what's going to lean me towards Jackson here.
Yeah, I would try to go Jackson. Crowder had 1 catch on 1 target last week, so it's pretty tough. It's Javonte season this week. I don't know if it's Javonte season, but it's Javonte week for sure. Henderson,
he did not participate.
Not practiced so far, right?
Yeah, didn't participate throughout the week. We haven't got the report for today, so it's going to be iffy. Make plans.
Start 2, J-Rob, Sony, Javonte. I'm going J-Rob and probably Javonte. Yeah, Javonte.
I'm going J-Rob. Sony or Javonte is a tough one. It could be a toss-up. I think the Rams' offense is more powerful than Denver, so give me Sony. But again, it's either way.
Nice haircut. Thank you. Where's the background, Cody?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was at different house today.
Yeah, he actually was. Oh my God, he's home.
Yeah, we moved. Real quick. Pretty powerful. Actually, I can teleport. So it's a reason that Condo and me are able to just kind of looks over.
You may ask, why don't we do the show in person more?
Is this because if I teleport too much, then like the government gets involved and they're like, we got to tax you for miles.
Taxes on that.
Yeah, so it's like, the less I do it, the less people know about it.
Jacobs or Barkley? I'm still trusting Barkley.
You have to. Yes, have to.
I think Matt Breida could have a good game on Monday night. I do not.
Do I think he could? I definitely can think of an idea that Matt Breida could be good on a Monday night football game. Maybe like 10 years ago, though. So I'm not like really loving it this week.
Galladay or Jennings on the 49ers? I think that is an interesting thing that we didn't bring up is like who could possibly be another receiver to show up on the Niners. But if Shepard doesn't play, which doesn't look like he's going to, I would go Galladay.
Yeah, go Galladay.
Do I pick up Matt Breida or roll with Darrell Williams? CH has a stomach flu.
Ah, geez, good thing I got rid of him.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that, but hey, I mean, I'm not saying I don't know nothing. I just don't know that. It doesn't say you got the stomach flu.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
If insider information is a real thing, second take extra, you are our guy.
I want to kind of look that up, but
I mean, if CH has a stomach flu, go with Williams, man. But
yeah, I would probably roll with that as well. But yeah, I would make sure that's like
make sure it's a real thing because I don't see.
I would verify that because I'm like looking on Google and stuff, and I don't even see that. Packers linebackers Zadarius Smith and cornerback Jair Alexander could in fact be ready to play versus the Bears per source. I don't think that changes. Maybe like you downgrade Mooney a little bit, but
Mooney was already downgraded for me. But I mean, the Bears offense is not that good.
Second take extras with me on Beasley.
Hey.
New England gives up a lot of short passes, and that is what Beasley does. Yes, it is. The second take extra. In reference to Javonte, is he due for a serious load? I think that's a question for Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is aware of all loads, and yeah, I'm just not as in sync with the loadage.
Yeah, me neither. It seems like a personal question to ask Javonte.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The language 49 or 49 was wild. It was wild. It was a little bit too wild. And we are your wildest fantasy football show, but even that can get a little bit too wild.
We encourage all people to come. I did indeed watch Mr. Beast Squid Games. I haven't watched the real Squid Games, so no spoilers, please. But yeah, just absolute. That man's a legend. Just great YouTuber. Great guy. You haven't seen it?
I feel like he just has an absorbent amount of money.
No, he does. He does, and he doesn't. Like if you,
I feel like he puts a lot of it back into his
he puts all of it right back into the things. It's hilarious because he's like, I made $3 million and I spent it on this setup. Hopefully, this makes me $3 million, so I can spend another one. Really funny guy.
They said Cook could be back week 15.
Woo! Yeah. Let's get it, boys. Good news.
Gibson, Javonte, Mitchell, Madison. Is it like we can try to rank them if that's what you want. I would go Madison number 1. Let me pull up some matchups here. Madison number 1. And then I would probably go Mitchell 2 because Seattle. And we saw what Antonio Gibson did against Seattle. We've seen what everyone's done against Seattle.
Then give me Gibson. Then give me Javonte. Washington's going against the Raiders, dude.
I'm gonna pull a wild move here, and I'm gonna go Javonte over Gibson.
So just like the backwards order of how he wrote it. That's fair.
Is it? Yeah, it is. Mooney or Van Jefferson? If Odell is out, Van Jefferson. If not, I'm going Mooney.
Right.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be fine this week.
That's what we, kind of likes to throw a lot of shade at me for, saying I wish people ill will and all that. But I just call it as I see it. I'm really happy CEH is healthy, despite the fact I got rid of him on a couple of my teams here. Want to see good things for him.
Status on Hurts. It looks like he's like a true questionable heading into the week. He was splitting first team reps with Gardner Minshew. And Sirianni says he will be listed as questionable for the game on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. Favorite condiment. This also seems like a bit of a lot of personal questions. Jake and 40 today. I have an easy one.
Okay.
Also kind of corresponds with your shirt, I suppose, as well. I'm a big sour cream guy. That's my favorite thing.
Sour cream's rated.
I can eat it by myself. I can eat it by myself, or I can eat it by itself.
That's disgusting.
Or do both at the same time.
Yeah. I'd have to go. There's this garlic parm sauce that you can get. Woo! Absolutely delicious. There's also the KFC, or not the KFC, sorry. There's also the Chick-fil-A sauce that you can buy. So I'd have to go garlic parm number 1 because garlic parm is the best ever. But then very close second is the Chick-fil-A sauce, which is also just heaven in a bottle.
Need one. I'm going Madison.
Go Madison.
Yep. J.D. McKissick ruled out. Yeah, that looked bad last week.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
You think Kirk is a good start?
I mean, he has been decently reliable in terms of fantasy value this year. Currently quarterback 9 on the year. So, yeah, he's a fine start. He's just a terrible real-life quarterback for my team. I need a better quarterback out there. I wish Gardner Minshew would come over, just really put some spirit into the team there. A wild card, some wild flavor in Minnesota. But, I get it. I get it, Gardner. But I need you.
Favorite drink? Is this like a PG?
I don't know.
Like a non-alcoholic beverage?
I mean, Long Island iced tea is my favorite, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. I'm a big iced tea guy, so
I'm a big, for my non-alcoholic drink of choice. What I like is nice little water, and then I put a little splash of vitamin water. I don't care what flavor it is, but that's what the wave I've been riding for the last week. Alcoholic beverage. We're both over the age of 21, so this is okay to talk about.
that's true.
I kind of depends on just what I'm feeling. I've been on a serious, just a lemonade vodka kind of.
Those are good. You might as well just step it up. Just go straight to Long Island iced tea. Because you can buy the mix at the store and then just put it in with vodka or put it in with lemonade. So best of both worlds, really.
Henderson practice today. I'm still looking on Henderson, trying to find stuff for today. I haven't been able to find any reports on his status so far. They're out there on the West Coast, so what time is it there? It's got to be noon. But yeah, nothing else that's really been out there that They said he's listed as questionable, and that's all we kind of got.
Practice all week. Yeah.
Okay. Going through the last couple quick. Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell. That's a really good question.
Taco Bell's cheaper. Chick-fil-A's better.
Yeah, I mean, quality versus quantity. It depends.
Exactly.
Um,
He's talking about Kirk Cousins right there.
Kirk Cousins. Rum Coke, Red Bull vodka. Red Bull would just kill me.
Yeah,
I am curious to know this. Toady says that he's like, I can see it.
I gotta pee so bad, dude. I'm gonna let you talk for a second. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Yeah. People don't know the grind that the determination that it takes with particularly the bladder, the fight that you're in when you do a show like this. So that's Sprite ketchup. It's fair. That's fair. It's a fair tandem. What is it? Drink condiment. Thank you. It's not, obviously, as a Colts fan, it is a sheriff jersey. So we appreciate, I mean, you always have to have the sheriff in town. I should have also said sweet tea is my drink and then probably showed that off when I was asked. That was a missed opportunity for a joke on my part. But if that's it, last thing I want to say to both people in the chat right now and to anybody else watching afterwards, we are changing up the way that we do our show. We will no longer be doing it 4 days a week. We will be doing a Sunday show, a start sit kind of thing, just taking your questions, any kind of questions that you have for the week or going forward, or anything that you might have to ask us. Could even be Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell. Could be whatever you want. And we will be answering questions for an hour on Sundays before the 1 o'clock game start. We will also be doing a show during the week, but we needed your help in figuring out what day of the week would be the best time and what you want us to cover. So we have a couple ideas of either doing a show on Tuesday, doing waivers, and then trying to either recap some of the games from the previous week or maybe try to have like a revolving other thing that we do in that span as we get our co-host returning. Or doing a show on Thursday where we preview the games, or doing a show on Friday where we recap the Thursday game and then preview the weekend slate. So whatever you guys think is best, I think we're leaning towards Tuesday if we don't get any feedback. But we would appreciate any feedback on what you would want us to like cover, and yeah, what would be the most helpful for you guys going forward. Very good feedback.
Yeah,
I can take it.
This is a show for the people.
If you think we can do waivers in 30 minutes, though, you are very confident in our speed, and as you could tell, that is not something that we're great at.
We are quick in everything that we do, not related to fantasy. So besides that, driving, I believe I clocked Condo going at least 155 in the school zone once. So, we're just speed demons,
Yeah, starts and sits would be very good Sunday thing. So, and we're excited to kind of like, just not really go on blabbering too much about like what we think just relative into like what we want to talk about, but what we think as to what everyone's lineups are and get more questions on that. I think we both need to watch Squid Games is the plan. But we will put out a video probably a little bit shorter than this one next week or this weekend. to give you the full schedule of like what times to expect. I think during the week it would be a 1 o'clock episode, but we will probably do a separate, just like short video on our YouTube feed to share what our schedule is going to be going forward. But that is it for us today. Thank you for watching, listening.
Did you want to do the thingies?
Bold predictions. I have no recollection of our old.
I have them written down right here. I'll go over yours just because yours are right here, and you can look up if they happened or not.
Boy.
Condo said Elijah Moore would be a top 12 wide receiver.
He was not. That was
He was
true.
not.
That was not true.
He was not. It was close. I'll give it to him. But Zach Wilson was in. Second one Condo did was Pittman would have 2 touchdowns. He did not have 2.
Happen.
Yep. And then the third one, Gibson would be a top 5 player overall.
Did that happen?
Gibson put up a hell of a week. I'll be honest.
we got to look that up.
He put up a really good week. He did not, if you believe it or not. Oh, geez. Hold on. We lost everything.
Oh, no.
Last week, he did not make the top 5. Dolphins defense, below the Dolphins defense. That's all I need to say. So.
Well, I mean, okay. Let's give him a little bit of credit there.
He was actually number 10 on the week. So Condo was really close on that one. I was just as bad as Condo, almost, just slightly better because of the glasses here. I said Tyrod would be top 5 quarterback last week. Tyrod Taylor was not. So, got that one wrong. Sorry about that. I also said Lions defense will have a top 5 week. Lions defense did pretty well.
Okay, well, talk yourself up.
Just not in terms of real football, like fantasy football. And then the third one, which I believe either ties me or takes the lead from Condo, I said Gaskins would have 10-plus points, break the curse against the number 1 defense, and he did! Woo! 10 points for Myles Gaskins.
They put Buffalo.
I believe they played Carolina, which was number 1 last
Carolina was the number 1 defense?
Carolina was number 1 in terms of the running back.
They were definitely not number 1 in terms of running.
No, in terms of stopping the run, like fantasy points of running backs, they were number 1 last.
They couldn't have been. Well, they might have been in terms of fantasy.
In fantasy, they were. Fantasy, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about real. We're not talking about real things here, Condo.
In yardage, they've
talking about fancy here.
They've only allowed one receiving touchdown. Okay. Okay. So, do you have bold predictions? My guess is yes. So you should go first.
My bold, I do not, just because. Oh wait, I do actually. Holy cow! I did come prepared. I am just on fire. That's why I'm the best co-host.
Oh, your house is falling down.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need a house when you just live in a mansion. There's people in. I just can't see. My brightness is here. Let me just fix that. There. Rams defense will have a top 5 week.
Oh wow, against the Jags. Bold. Let's get back to it. We had a while where you weren't on Timid Takes.
I had a while, and then I also just think that with OBJ out and Darrell Henderson out, Sony Michel is not the running back of old. I think the Jags are going to stay into the game here, and I think the defense is going to suffer. That's why. I just think they're going to let up a bunch of points.
Old Urban. Going to grind it out.
Hey, he is going to grind, baby. Let's hear your
grind.
Urban
freaking grinds.
That is okay. That's
yeah. Okay. We're on Timid Takes.
Next one is going to be a bold one, and I think you're going to agree. But I'll let you go again.
Okay. I think we know where this is going. I don't know how bold it is, but I want to stay with this game and say,
okay,
James O'Shaughnessy, top 12 tight end this week. And you might say, oh, that's not bold. But he's rostered in 0.3% of leagues. So James O.
I mean, that's not really bold, but I mean, I'll give it to you.
I mean, what
that's Condo's timid take here. That's tough, hon. That is.
What do you mean? He's rostered in 0.3% of leagues.
Oh my gosh. So Moreau, who just got picked up literally like yesterday in 24% of leagues to get him to, get him up here. Oh my, that's
You said you wouldn't play James O'Shaughnessy. You said you wouldn't pick him up. I said
I have great tight ends.
Numbers.
I got Tyler Conklin and Dawson Knox.
Well, I think he's going to outperform at least Tyler Conklin this week.
Probably. Tyler Conklin is sitting on the bench for Dawson Knox this week. All right. That's a Tim take. This one.
Number 25 tight end going into the week on Fantasy Pros ECR. So
I'll get us back. I'll get us back into the bold predictions here. Tyler Lockett, top 5 wide receiver this week.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, what you doing?
I think one of your predictions, which you already lost, that I guess it's not prediction. It was more of a bet that we made yesterday. You should work that into your bold predictions.
I'm not the joke. All right, I made a joke yesterday because Tennessee's not playing. That Hillard and Foreman would outscore. Who was it? I forgot who.
It wasn't. And I would recommend people go back and watch the tape because I am not convinced that it was true.
I know. That's why it's a joke. I forgot the team we were talking about. I think it was it New Orleans? I think it was New Orleans. I think it was Mark Ingram. Was it not? Was that not when we made it?
I don't know. I don't know who
I think it was because I remember doing it early on. I think we were doing it then.
My second bold prediction is going to be something that, if it's not obvious, I currently don't even know. So I'm trying to think of something on the spot here. Looking at the slate, what game is really like just drawing me in?
Drawing you in?
Yeah, pulling.
Chargers, Bengals, probably.
Chargers, Bengals, but like, who's their bold to like talk about? Like Mike Williams, like
Tyler Boyd.
I guess I could say.
I know Tyler Boyd would be the boldest guy you could probably pick who would have a viable fantasy league.
But I just don't believe in him.
I don't believe in half the people I say for a bold prediction. That's why it's a bold prediction. You don't need to stake him.
I want to go with. Should we say that just Rex Burke? Can we do a combined one that Rex Burkhead doesn't reach 11 points in full point PPR and just both have that as our bold prediction?
No, I have my bold prediction. I'm not going to go against Sexy Rexy, but I'll let you go Sexy Rexy underneath 12. It's because you tried to throw me in there.
That seems like I don't know how bold that is.
All right,
I'm going to go.
Are you doing Sexy Rexy?
No, because that's okay. I don't think that's a very.
That seems like a low one unless you're going Sexy Rexy over 20 points. That seems like the only way it'd be a bold prediction. I
think like you would have to say like under 6 or something like that.
It had to be something absurd.
I mean, Cole Beasley outperforms any Patriot wide receiver or running back.
Any New England player. Got it.
Besides Mac Jones.
No, you said any New England player. I heard it.
That's why I wrote it down. Didn't say that, actually. I made a very clear statement to not say that. But yeah, I think I gotta ride the Cole Beasley train. I'm already on.
All right. I mean, hey, if you want to ride the Cole Beasley train, I'm gonna have to do something I didn't think I was gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to go against the number 1 quarterback in all of fantasy. Really by a landslide. Josh Allen just put himself into the clear number 1 quarterback conversation here. Clear-cut number 1, outperforming everyone by astronomical numbers, outscoring everyone, if I may, just by a landslide. I'm going to go Josh Allen outside the top 7 quarterback this week. Fall from grace.
7.
Josh Allen, just so everyone knows, is number
Josh
7.
Allen was
Josh
probably outside the top 7 last week.
Josh Allen? I can look real quick if you like.
Yes.
Last
He's under
week?
20. I know that.
For quarterback last week, Josh Allen was number 1 with 26.
Was he? Wait,
Josh Allen's the
what
number
am
1
I
wide.
thinking about?
I'm thinking of Josh Allen, honey.
I said, what am I thinking about? I didn't say what
You're probably
I was
thinking
talking about the week before. I might have been, I guess. I don't know.
Week before, Josh Allen had 16, but everyone kind of suffered 2 weeks ago. I mean, I think the high 2 weeks ago was like 25.
Oh. Josh Allen, top 7. Outside top 7.
Okay.
I'm going with kind of off of your Seattle pick here. I'm going to say
my locket.
DK Metcalf is a top 5 wide receiver this week. DK been as cold as anybody of late. So I think that they try to make a pretty big deal of getting him back involved this week and maybe even sees a touchdown or 2. Who knows?
I mean, they're playing San Francisco, so not exactly tough competition.
Is it not?
I mean, San Francisco, Adam Thielen dropped 23.2 with 2 tutties, so I'm not.
San Francisco is 11th against wide receivers, allowing the 11th least points to opposing fantasy wide receivers.
DK Metcalf with more 20-point games and games underneath double digits. That's a bold one, Condo. That is a bold one.
I have to look here because you said some wild ones too. Just because I don't have sorry.
Wow, I'm gonna yell at
16 screens up here. Okay, Cody, you told James O'Shaughnessy to just break his freaking knee this week.
I didn't tell him to. I said he was going to.
You said he was going to, which is basically telling him to.
I didn't tell him to do it. I told him he was going to do it.
I mean, I don't even know. Tyler Lockett's been playing better than DK Metcalf.
And okay.
Yeah.
I thought that the recent games don't matter. That was your argument for Cole Beasley over.
I didn't say that they don't
over
matter.
Bourne. That was your argument.
No, it wasn't my argument. It was your argument.
That's what you said. I said
it was your argument that they do. I didn't say that they don't. I said that I have a gut feeling. Yeah.
All right. Locked it down. I took the lead. I'm just going to secure the lead.
I don't know if that's true.
We were tied, and then I took the lead. No, we were tied. I took the lead.
Did you?
I believe we said on Thanksgiving episode, our Wednesday special, we were tied.
I have to roll back tape.
Roll Tide.
No one's going to do that, but we would have to if we had to figure it out. Okay, that is it for us. I'm exhausted.
I need to finish up my everything.
Okay. So let's let Cody finish his everything, and good luck to everybody this week.
Good luck.
We will again post a video on what our schedule is going to be going forward, and we hope to see you guys next week.
Hope to see y'all then.